What is going on, young men? Listen, on today's video, I want to talk to you guys about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, or in other words, just thinking before you do some stuff, right? Just thinking before you do. That's what we're going to talk about today. Listen, I am the Over 50 Guy / the Online Dad. On my channel, I give young men practical advice and tips and help them avoid a lot of the pitfalls and a lot of the crazy that I went through at your age, so that when you get to my age, you can have options and resources and you can live the life that you want to live. That's what we do here, so let's get into it. Yeah, guys, emotional intelligence. Shout out to Hip Hop Music 2470. Hip Hop Music 2470, a subscriber of the channel, supporter of the channel. I appreciate you, brother, for bringing this topic to light or requesting that I talk about this topic. So let me get into it with you guys. And I was thinking about this today. Like, the best illustration that I can give you guys of the lack of emotional intelligence is this story that took place years ago when I was in my 20s, about the age that a lot of you guys are now, that I worked for a major construction company here in the city. I was making union scale. So I was making, at 20 years old, I was making $21, $22 an hour easily. And there was a lady, her name was Chris. And Chris was the scheduler for this company, for this major construction company. Chris would call you like through the week and tell you what jobs you are going to. This happened particularly on a Thursday. I remember it that distinct. But she would call you to tell you where you were going, the next job site you were going to the next day. And Chris would call me, and I'm in my 20s, right? Making good money at this job. Chris would call me, and I can't remember if she called earlier and I didn't pick up the phone, or if the phone hung up on her while we were talking. I can't remember the circumstances that led to this exchange between me and her, but it went something like this. Chris was like, hey, what's going on with your phone? Why didn't you answer your phone? Or why didn't you hang up? Or why'd you hang up on me? And I proceeded to blow her mouth out. Like, who in the hell do you think you're talking to? You don't ask me about my phone. You don't pay my bill. And around this time, Chris was a white lady. And I was going through my Louis Farrakhan phase in life. So anybody white coming at me crazy was a problem back then, right? So I was really put off by just that. You talking to me this way because you think you white and you can talk to me any type of way, and I ain't no kid and I ain't your boy. And I mean, guys, I read her the riot act. I mean, it was just awful. I called her some names. I did all kinds of crazy stuff. To this day, I think she stayed on the phone just to like build ammunition in the event. She could have taken me for all I knew. And at the end of that phone call, I hung up the phone. Now, you think you talking to? You don't talk to me that way. I'm a grown ass man. And I went through that whole thing. And I never heard back from them again. I never heard back from this company again. Essentially, they fired me. 21 years old, making $20-some an hour, while a lot of my friends and contemporaries are making barely over minimum wage. I have the best job that you can probably get at my age. And because of not having emotional intelligence, I lost it. It took me months to get another construction job. I worked with my father, so I usually went where he went, but this was the first time me kind of branching off on my own. And it took me months. To get back in that position, right? Now, when I look back on it, guys, the cost of losing that job, right? It was not worth the feeling of me getting I got her told I got her told. Who you think you talking to? I'm the man. The cost that I paid in not having that job was not worth me just, when I look back on it, guys, I could have easily been like, okay, well, wait a minute, slow down. What happened was yada, 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 and still maintain my job. But because I didn't have the emotional intelligence, because I didn't think before I spoke, I messed myself out of thousands of dollars, right? And a lot of you young men are dealing with that today. It doesn't have to be a job. It can be a police officer. It could be a person in authority. It could be a spouse, a significant other. It could be anything or any situation, guys, where, you know what, you just don't think before you speak. And what I will say to you guys about that is there's a cost to be paid. There's a cost to be paid for acting out before you think, right? And some people pay it in money. A lot of people pay it with their lives. Listen, the fact of the matter is, young men, you cannot do or say anything you want whenever you want. You just can't do that. That's what children do. There's a price to be paid for not thinking, right? I see it all the time on YouTube videos where the kids are talking stupid to the police officers. You know what the issue, you know what the real deal is? You just ain't ran into the right one. If you run into the right one, you're going to pay a cost for that. And it doesn't matter if it's fair. I was at work yesterday, another young guy talking crazy to a supervisor, right? And he was talking his talk and he was letting her have it. And 2 seconds later, security walked up and walked my man out the building. He'll probably never work here again, right? Now, I don't know if this man had children. I don't know if this man has a wife or family or this, but he's going to pay a cost for not thinking. Man, you have to develop emotional intelligence. And all that really is, man, all that really is just thinking. It's just thinking. What is this thing that I'm about to say? What is this thing that I'm about to do, right? How is this going to affect me? What cost am I going to have to pay for doing this? Man, that's all emotional intelligence is. And you have to develop that. You need to develop it early because you're at a stage in your life where you are trying to gain a better employment. You are going to university. You are around different people every day, right? And you have to know, you have to learn that you just cannot say or do. That even applies to street stuff. Listen, I ain't no street dude or this, that, and the other, but we all know when we out here, whether you in a club or whether you know there are certain people you just don't say certain things around. You know how far you can go, right? That is everywhere in life, man. Why would you think it would be different anywhere else? And the thing about it is, just like it can cost you in the street, where if you say the wrong thing, you can get your mouth busted or your head split open or worse. Guys, the same thing applies in the world. I see, again, these videos where, you know, the kids are just talking crazy to parents and to teachers. And guys, don't you understand now that, you know, you get too crazy, you can talk all the mess you want, but if you get too crazy, they'll just call the police and remove you, right? They'll just get you right up out the way. They'll get you up out of there without a problem. It really is an idea, man, of self-control, like learning how to control yourself. I keep going back to this because it really is that simple. As an adult, you cannot say whatever and I take that back, you can. I used to teach my kids this. You can say and do whatever it is you want to do, just so long as you're willing to pay the consequences for that. Just so long as you're willing to pay the cost. You want to talk stupid to a supervisor, to police officers. You want to have no self-control when it comes to your mouth. Do that. You just won't have a job. And as long as you're willing to pay that price for that, or as long as you're willing to accept that consequence, do your thing. But most people out here aren't willing to pay that. So they develop emotional intelligence. They learn how to control themselves, because if they don't, their actions has consequences, right? That's why it's important, man, that I want you to find your passion. I want you to find something that you're excited about, that you can start pouring into, because then you have something that, well, you know, I can't afford to lose my freedom. I can't afford to lose this job because I need this money to pour into my passion. I need to be out here so I can do the things I need to do. I can't get locked up. I can't be in jail when I'm trying to develop this business, when I'm trying to develop my passion. I ain't going to jail for that. That's why you need a passion, young man. That's why you need a purpose, right? Because if you have something that is worth something, you're not so quick to just throw it away. Real life, you don't control your mouth, or you don't develop emotional intelligence, you're going to lose. You're going to lose, and you're going to lose bad, because this system is not set up to deal with that type of stuff. Like I said, I can go anywhere right now and start clowning. I cut up too bad. Yeah, before I look around, there's gonna be cops standing around me like, yeah, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Same thing at your job. Same thing at your house. You don't develop emotional intelligence with your woman or your significant other, and she dialed that number. All emotional intelligence is, young man, is just learning to control yourself. Just learning to control yourself. You are a thinking, intelligent person. You know you can't do that. You know you can't cuss your bosses, your supervisors at your job out and expect to keep a job. You know you can't talk any way to police officers. YouTube will show you that you can, but in the real world, when ain't nobody around but you and them, yeah, you're going to pay a cost for that. You better develop you some emotional intelligence. You better develop you some self-control. You better learn how to close your mouth. You better learn how to become articulate with your words. Know how to communicate effectively. So if you have to get somebody told, you can do it in a way that is not threatening, and you still can convey your point. See, that's what emotional intelligence is. See, I have that to the point now where I can cuss you up one wall and down another and never use an obscene word. Why? Because I know how to express myself. I know how to articulate myself. Listen, y'all, the real world, they're just waiting on you. They're just waiting on you. And I'm not even going to turn this into a color thing. In the real world, get stupid enough. You got people out there, you got supervisors or people in power that don't want to see you where you are at. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. You have people that don't want to see you in the position that you're in and will intentionally try to antagonize you so they can get you up out of there. All they got to do is make you mad. And when you start cussing and fussing and going off, they'll just see, I'm sorry. I can't, you know, and get you right on up out the door so their son can come in, so their daughter, so their brother can come in and get the exact same job. Y'all better learn out here. I am telling you, this thing is real. When you don't know how to act, when you don't know how to control yourself, when you don't know that you cannot do or say anything you want whenever you want. There is a time and a place for everything, young man. And just like I had to learn that with Chris the hard way, you don't got to learn that the hard way. I had to learn that the hard way. I thought that I can just, you talking to me any kind of way, I can talk to you okay. And I was out of work for months, but I got her told. You see what I'm saying, man? Emotional intelligence is nothing more than just self-control. You don't have to fly off the handle at everything. Everything ain't got to be what you trying to do. What you gonna do? Everything. Young man, everything ain't a test of your manhood. Everything ain't somebody trying to punk you. Everything ain't everything ain't somebody trying to see if you soft, right? But if you take everything like that, right? Again, not having emotional intelligence, they gonna get you up out of there. Wherever you at, they gonna get you up out of there. You're easy to deal with when you're like that. You know when you hard to deal with, when you can communicate effectively, when you can articulate what you're thinking and how you're feeling, and you force people to deal with you. You force them to deal with you that way. But when you get all, you know what I do, you just get dismissed. Don't nobody even listen to you. They just wait for you to say the right thing so they can hop on the phone and get you up out of there. So, at 20-something years old, how do you learn emotional intelligence? There's a way, young men, that you can say and do everything. Listen, there's going to be times in your life, and I wish this wasn't the case, but it's true. There's going to be times in your life where you're going to have to stand up. And it may come down to, doing what it is that you need to do to get somebody up off of you. And I'm not opposed to that at all. But young man, that ain't all the time. That ain't every day. That ain't every interaction. Some interactions you're going to have to learn to communicate effectively. And that really is what emotional intelligence is. Learning how to communicate, knowing when to talk, when not to talk, knowing okay, I'm out, right? You know how many people is in jail right now because they didn't know how to close their mouths. They didn't know when to walk away from a thing. All they knew was, ain't no punk, ain't soft. Plenty of them in the graveyard in the same way because they didn't have emotional intelligence, right? They didn't think before they acted, right? And I don't want to see that for you, young men. So this is what you do for that. Again, you learn that there is a time and a place for everything. You learn that everything ain't got to be about getting somebody told. You learn that, I can say this in a way, or I can do this in a way that I am heard, I am acknowledged, and, I get what I need. I ain't got to be thuggish, ruggish, hood. Everything is, about it. You don't have to be that everywhere. So that is all I have on that. Hip-hop music. I hope that helps, brother. I appreciate your support of the channel. I hope that adds some value to all of you young men, that emotional intelligence is so very important, especially in this day and age. And it really is simple to learn. So, yeah, that's all I have on that, man. Listen, I am doing the one-on-one coaching. I'll put my email in the bottom of this video description. Shoot me a text or an email. Put coaching in the subject line, and I'll be sure to get back with you, let you know how that process works. I am doing the lives, 11 o'clock Sunday night. Like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your bell notifications so you know when I'm dropping other videos. And we'll be back with another one soon.